Hi, I'm Anna Eliza Alger. Here is what I'd like you to remember about me. I was born on December 20th, 1855 in Salt Lake City, Utah Territory. Utah was just being established. My parents are John Alger and Sarah Pulsifer. I was their sixth child. They arrived in the Salt Lake Valley as Mormon pioneers in 1848. We lived a little west of Main Street on 3rd South. My father owned an acre. In 1857 there was a confrontation between Mormon settlers and the armed forces of the United States government. This lasted for about 1 year. It was eventually resolved through negotiation, but my family related to me how intense this time was. My dad helped delay Johnston's army by blocking the army's entrance into the valley. My parents had 10 children. Here is the 1860 census. Notice my family's birth states. They follow LDS history sequence, from New York and Ohio to Nauvoo, winter quarters and Utah. My father also had 9 more children through plural marriages. He was married 5 times and divorced twice. At 6 years old, my parents were called by Brigham Young to go to southern Utah to settle St. George on a cotton mission. He said it would take the real pioneer stock to settle the outlying points. On the way down, I can remember herding the cows when the boys were tired. When we reached the Sevier River, there were big planks out over the stream, which was quite an angry torrent. I recall thinking it would be fun to hang down from the boards and dangle my feet in the water. My father saw me. Had he called loudly or angrily to me, I might have let go and drowned in the swollen stream, but he spoke kindly and softly till he managed to get onto the solid ground once more, and then he punished me well for my carelessness. Our family was housed in St. George upon our arrival there, in a log cabin and a tent nearby. My parents went back to Salt Lake while we stayed with Uncle Charlie Pulsifer for a short time. While they were gone, our cabin was robbed everything except some lovely old pearl-handled knives. I guess the thieves thought if they left these, the blame would be put on the Indians. My dad built a frame and stucco home on Fraction Block 4, Plat A, Diagonal Street, in St. George. I loved growing up with so many sisters. We got along like friends. Here is Addie in the middle and Mame on the right. I liked to dress with high class, like a queen. I enjoyed wearing high-heel slippers and steel toes. I married Joseph Price on March 2, 1874 at age 17. He was rough but gentle. He was a miner and didn't talk much, which was good since I talked all the time. On our wedding trip, we came upon a flooded Virgin River. I told Jode, "You'll never make it," but he stubbornly tried to forge the river. Our wagon tipped over, we lost our horse, and our wedding gifts were washed away. All our dishes, all our food, all my pretty dresses, our quilts, everything that had given us at the jamboree is gone. I said, "Jode, you old fool, you look just like a red bird." Here he was in his underwear. We were hanging on to the trees, and he said, "You don't look so darn pretty yourself," as we laughed hysterically. We left searching for help. We found a couple down the river, that were short and fat. We borrowed some clothes. There I was in this funny fat dress, that was 3 or 4 sizes too big on our first married night. If you ever saw 2 people with not a stitch to their name, nothing but underwear. And that's the way we started out our married life. Over the next 21 years, we had 8 children. 4 of our kids sadly died either at childbirth or before their first birthday. Their names are Joseph, Ida, Addie, and John. Our children that we raised to adulthood are Eva, Josephine, Claude, and Lucille. Just after Eva's birth, we got sealed in the new St. George Temple, which is just south of where I grew up. It is a beautiful temple, and I was so happy to have my family there. We moved a lot throughout our life, from St. George to Parawan to the Diamond Valley to Medina, to Pioche, back to St. George. My husband was a prospector and was always looking for natural minerals. We owned a hotel. I was a great cook, and we also employed an excellent Chinese cook. He made some wonderful pies with a beautiful crimped border. One day when I asked him how he made the beautiful edging on the pies, he promptly removed his false teeth and used them to crimp the pie's edge. I was totally shocked at the sight. The nice thing about St. George was being around my siblings. We often would get together. In 1899, I helped organize the Calico Carnival in St. George. The ladies were required to wear a calico gown and the gentlemen to wear calico ties. Anyone who sat in the corner and refused to converse was given a fine. We had a comical consequence collector assigned. We moved to Salt Lake in 1900, which was hard to say goodbye to my family. Our numerous circle of friends regretted our move but wished us success in our new home. Josie and Eva soon got married. Claude stayed mining in southern Utah. Lucille eventually left for Los Angeles. We owned a hotel and I remember our grandson Bus dumping the contents of a spittoon over his head when he visited. While in Salt Lake, I joined the Needlecraft Club. I loved preparing formal dinners and having family gather. In 1912, we moved to the middle of nowhere in Oasis, Utah on a mining expedition. Sometimes I wondered why I married Jode. I could have married a doctor, a banker, or some other rich man. But we laughed our way through our troubles. Here is a photo from one of our family gatherings. I am standing up on the top left of this photo. In 1924, all 6 of us sisters had a reunion in Salt Lake and we had a tea party. This picture made it into the Deseret News and the Salt Lake Tribune. Here is a higher quality photo of that same event. This was the first time we had all been together for 45 years. Later that year we moved to Los Angeles to live with the Spencers and the Snows. They lived reasonably close to each other. Jode died in 77 in 1931, which was a sad day for me. I continued to live in Los Angeles with Lucille. That same year, I took a trip back to Salt Lake and Eva had a delightful party to honor me. We had all my friends including Ida MacArthur and Margaret Clift. I was so happy to see them. The serving table was prettily decorated with a basket of yellow and crimson marigolds and zinnias. I spent the rest of my life back in Los Angeles and saw a tremendous growth of that big city. I was happy to see my grandchildren come visit often. I died on July 22, 1945 at a good old age of 88 in Los Angeles. I was widowed for 14 years and looking back at my life I cherish all the memories. I am buried at Valhalla Cemetery in Los Angeles, California. I don't have a tombstone for me, but I was laid to rest near this marker. I am Annie Alger Price. I was born in the pioneer Salt Lake Valley, grew up in the newly settled St. George, and died in the booming city of Los Angeles. Some say my personality was fire and ice. I was proud of the way I dressed. I raised 4 children. Thank you for listening to my story.